Yeah, there now. That's the brakes should be okay. Should be okay. And I put the tie rod on, and the new tie rods on. I've got a bunch of rubber bushings here. I'm just going to put them in the vehicle so they don't get mixed up with something else. There they are in there. I think there's a few more here somewhere. Yeah, a couple of these hot dogs or donuts or whatever they call them. Put them in there. Now tomorrow, I'm going to put a set of wheels on this. It's Friday, of course, and that's pretty well the week wrapped up. Let me see now. I'll wrap up the week and then I'll tell you about tomorrow later. So the didn't get that much done, but I got a bit done, and the parts finally arrived for the Mercedes. I went out and bought another car. You'll see that after a little while. There's a little green car in the other shop, a TR7. So I'm going to take this one out of here. The little car doesn't run. So I'm going to take this one out of here and pull that little car in and see if I can make it run, and then I'll evaluate it, what it needs to be done on it. Then I'll decide what to do next. Because this one here is in a point where I can roll it out, drive it out, and be kind of happy the way it is for a while. And I'll drive the other one in and be happy with it, see what's going on with that. So I'm curious. I guess that's what I should say. I'm curious about what's going on with that other car. Anyhow, you'll see the little green car. It's a 1980 Triumph TR7. You'll see that pretty soon along in the video, and I hope you enjoy it all. I'll also mix up some stuff with the BMW in this week too, so it's kind of a mixed week again. The BMW finally got figured out what's going on with the charging system, and I've got a workaround on it. Seems to work okay. And the light on that comes on for absolute braking or whatever they call it, anti-braking, anti-lock braking, it goes out when the charging system comes on. So I think there's a mix-up in the lights there, and that anti-lock brake light is actually the charging light. So the battery hasn't been charging ever since I've been driving that thing. And now it's charging and the light goes out, so I'll take it apart and sort out those lights here one of these days and see if I can figure out how to make that work properly. Anyway, that's all for this week, and I'll put a bit of a movie out, and hope you enjoy it. Things are coming along. Yeah, so here I am. I'm getting good at popping that alternator in and out of there. So first I'll just unhook the negative on the battery here. Then I go and unhook this, loosen off the belt a little bit, but leave the belt on because it's easier to remove the bottom bolt if the belt's holding that thing up a bit. So you can loosen off that top one here, that one, pull it out, leave the belt on, then loosen off the bottom one, which is underneath there. You can't see it, but it's down there, take my word for it. And then you can pull that bolt out. It'll pull out most of the way until it hits up against this plastic on the radiator shroud, and then the alternator will pull off out of there. And once you get it out, then you can take the wires off the back of the alternator a little bit easier than trying to dig in around there with your hand the way it is, because there's no room down there. Yeah, there you go, 12.14 volts. That's the field wire from the alternator. And down here it's on the negative, and it's reading 12.14 volts with the key turned on. So I'll turn off the key. What happens with the key turned off? Key turned off, 0 volts, 0.02 millivolts, which is nothing. So, turn the key back on. Did it cure itself? I don't know. Maybe it's just a bad connection, right? Maybe there's just a bunch of dirt on that connection right there. 12.14 volts to the field. Now, it should have 12 volts to the this thing here too, maybe. We'll just check. This would be the positive wire coming off of the thing. It should also have 12 volts on and it's got 12.36. So everything is right. So it's got to be just bad electrical connection somewhere. I'll do a little bit of testing. I'll clean off all these things pretty well. Oops, whoops, there we are. Got it going now. Anyhow, this is all back together with the alternator together the way it's supposed to be. Then if I loosen that off a bit, I'll just show you. On the bottom side here, there's this little thing here, which is there. Can you see that now? Yeah, this little thing is a little transistor. It plugs in right there, and that's one of those suppressors that makes the radio so it won't go wee. You know, that whining noise it makes sometimes. Field wire, hot wire, battery wire, ground wire. Everything should be there. We'll just see what happens. Yeah, there I am. I'm down to my last 100,000 of these things, which are kind of handy to have sometimes because you tend to drop them and then you need another one. So, another thing from John. John had them and he gave them to me one time and said, here, you might need these. And sure enough, I have needed them. Plus, all these cotter keys here. I got a bazillion cotter keys, and I think they came from John. Maybe I bought them. No, likely John supplied them. Yeah, so now I've got this. There's my new alternator. I'm ready to put it in, but I'm going to clean off these connections here. Like there's a connection here and a connection there. And I brought in my trusty Dremel tool just to give it a good wipe. And then I'll check out that connection for the ground to make sure it's good too, because there's some connection that isn't good. Yeah, now I cleaned them all off. Can you see them down there? Here's one, shiny and clean. There's the other one. Come on. There you go. Shiny and clean. Then I cleaned off the ground down there, and I've got it hooked onto the thing here. And so it should come down to a real, like it goes down to 1.9, 0.9.8, so that's a good ground connection there. So now I'll check the ground from the motor to, I'll check it over to this thing here. Which is checked against the body, right? And that's good. And then that's the negative on the battery cable, and it goes right down to 0. So yeah, so while I was at it, I took the Dremel tool and I cleaned off both sides of this nut that holds the field wire on. This nut here, wait a minute, I'll get it for you. This is the one that holds the hot wire on. It's new, so it should be good. This one here was pretty dirty, so it's clean now. The one that's holding on the ground wire is new, so yeah, it seems that Tony likes BMWs. Maybe he's practicing up to be one of those little bobblehead toys that sits on the back of a dash or something, eh? That's what we'll turn you into when you die, Tony. You'll be a bobblehead. There you go. Yeah, there, see it? I've got that red wire there going down to the field. And it's now charging at, I'll take a look here and see what it's charging at. Can you see that? I don't know if you can see that, but it says 14.2 volts coming through there. Now, I started it up and ran it without that wire on there, and there was no charging. So, oh dear, what the hell. So it's got to be one of these wires here is not connecting right. I'll just take them off and take the Dremel to them all and clean them all up good. Now I've got all the heaters going and everything like that. And the headlights on at 13.6, 13.8. 13.8 when you shut that off, and 14.1 now. So it seems to be charging without now this is not hooked up and it's charging, so must be just it's got itself a little boost through there somehow. So I'm going to take it apart and get these wires cleaned up in here, and that should be solved. Well, I hope anyhow. It's just a matter of dirty wires, and it always comes down to dirty wires. Yeah, the king is in the counting house. Cleaning himself, right? Yeah, so I re-cleaned all them. I cleaned all these connections and I resoldered this one here, because these ones here feel solid, but that one here felt loose, like it wasn't making a good connection. So anyhow, feels good now, and resoldered it. I'll tape it up, I'll put it all together and just see what happens. Yeah, now there you go. So here's the dilemma. When I start the car up, it doesn't charge. It just doesn't go to charging mode. But then all I have to do is touch this wire I've got hooked onto the field to a hot connection. Excuse me. Just touch it to a hot connection and then move it away and it charges until the next time that I use it, right? Or next time I turn it off. And I think it takes a 12 volt across that thing. We'll just see. Whoa, too many wires everywhere. I've got this thing here going, so I'll get the wires out. If I had more hands, I could likely do a better job. But I only have so many hands. So there, that's, here we are. Let's see. 13 point some odd volts there. And 13.92 volts there. So that thing there is making a connection. Oh, I suppose I could hotwire it, so that I just have to switch the switch inside the car every time I turned on. That'd make a good theft deterrent too. Anyway, but I'll think about it. I'll have a look online and see if anybody else is doing the same sort of silly stuff. Yeah, so here I am back on the Beamer, and so I took this red wire here and I hooked it back to the back of the straight from the battery to the field terminal on there, plus there was the other connections. I just left them be there. Now that should make it work. I don't know whether it's supposed to have a positive there forever or not, but if it doesn't need it there forever, I'll take this out and I'll put a switch on it somewhere. See what happens. There you go. It's 14 volts now, 13.9, 14, and running just normal. So I think it's charging all right. We'll just see how it goes here. Yeah, oh, where am I? Oh, there we go. Recording now. Anyhow, the answer to the question, is this thing, should that be switched? This wire here, should it be switched? Yes, the answer is yes, because overnight the thing went dead. The battery went dead overnight. Now I think it's starting to charge now. I'll just put these things on here and see what happens. There's the other end. Yeah, so it's got 7 volts into it now. But I think if I take this off of here, put that on there, it's got like 5 volts. So not much left on it overnight. And then it wouldn't charge with the with that thing still hooked onto it, wouldn't charge. So that field has to have just a switch on it. So I'll put it onto a switch somehow for now until I finally figure out what the hell's wrong. Because really, I don't know. And in the meantime, here you are, and in the meantime, I guess that's a good enough excuse to take this thing for a spin. I was going to take the car and go to town and get some, just a few groceries, but I might as well take the bike, because it's got a trunk on it the size of the car. Anyhow, here I go for a bike ride. Yeah, the boys are interested. Well, go now. Yeah, nothing like a Polaris. At least it's got a pull starter. There they're rolling now. See you later. Yeah, I parked here at the corner just to, I was going to stop and take a little movie here at the Honda because I'm out in the Honda, right? And those kids were parked down the way there, and they just wanted to come and see it, so they came and took a look. Anyway, now I'm going to go with the camera up the road a bit, so that's the way home. That way there goes to Charlottetown. That's the West River Causeway over here. So I'll take a little bit of a movie across the causeway as I go and just do some one-handed driving, which is pretty easy with this because there's no clutch and there's no, it's only just gas and go. But I got to whip my helmet back on, so I'll do that. Yeah, here I go. We'll see how fast it goes. Yeah, how much stuff do you suppose you can get in the back of a Honda Helix? Honda Helix. Well, you can get grapes. And you can get strawberries. And there's room for bananas. A couple of dozen eggs. I wonder if any broke. 1 dozen are good. 2 dozen, none broken. Not bad for the day. A little bit of milk, right? That's for coffee cream, right? You got room for a pineapple. Oh yeah, we gotta have room for a cantaloupe. Maybe a pound of butter. Yeah, I guess that'll be all right. Got room for a watermelon. And then there's a few other things that I bought, like at the store. I bought some wire for wiring, 3 or 4 screwdrivers, little calibration tool or whatever you call that thing. Oh, there's, you know, tape and bug spray and a rag and a few switches. So yeah, pretty near everything you need for a day can go in there. Yeah, so here I'm made it back to Holland Cove. Not a bad little trip. Nice little bike, this Honda Helix. 1986 it was produced. Oh yeah, and then if you fill up the back, you can throw stuff in the dashboard, eh? So I got the mail and the paper in the dashboard. Anyway, there you go. Another journey in the Honda Helix. I'll take it out back and I'll unload the stuff that goes to the back. This stuff here goes into the house. Yeah, so now I got that wired all the way back up through here and into the car and then over to right there. Now let's see what happens when I start it. So this switch here, is it off? It's off. There's no power to the alternator. Turn it on, there's power to the alternator, and all it needs is just a minute of power, or not even a minute. Well, it looks like the battery's got charge again. Right now it says 12.6, 12.7. Oh, it's coming up to power. 13. 14.3 when I hook it on, and it stays at 14.2, 14.3. So when you put the power to it, which is that side there, then it tricks something in there to say, hey, time to charge, and just stay at 14.3 here forever, which is what it is now. And even so, it doesn't matter if it's on or off when you're running, it seems to be, so that when you're not running, I have to turn that off or else it'll drain the battery. Well, we'll find out tomorrow morning, right? That seems to be another little problem solved. 14.3, and then you turn on the headlights, it drops to 14.2, 14.0. Turn on the fans. Whoops, that's the wrong button. That's the heat. Turn on the fans. 13.8, 13.9. Then we give it a bit of gas. Holds pretty steady at 13.8, so it's charging good. There, so I'm a happy guy. Seems that the last time I had the part, I fixed it so that the lights came on in the dash too. The only light that doesn't come on is this silly battery charging light. I don't know why it doesn't come on, but I've got it down here anyhow, so I'm happy. The oil pressure light does come on. It came on before, so we're happy. There, now I shut off the car again. I'll even close the door so I don't get bong, bong, bong all the time. Now I'll start it up again. It says 13.6, which is the power that's ambient on the battery. It comes up to 12.8 after you start the car. Turn that on, goes up to 14.2, turn it off, and it holds 14.2. So whatever it does is what it does. There I was, talking away to nothing. It seems to be solving the problem, so I'll be happy with that for now. Yeah, so here's a recap, hey? I had the alternator out and put a different one in, and it didn't seem to make any difference. It was still not charging. Then I discovered if I touched power to the field wire down there while the car was running, then it would start charging and would continue charging without any problem. So I decided that, hey, I'll put a hot wire to it for full time. That doesn't work because that drains the battery overnight. So now I've got this wire here, which is kind of a little breakfast right there, but that's all. I'll be happy with that. I'll clean it up someday. Yeah, some days. If you don't do it in 7 days, it never gets done. So I'll clean it up within 7 days or not. So this wire here goes into the cab of the car where I've got a switch. And that switch, it just, when I start the car, I turn the switch to power, and it makes it so that the brain of the alternator gets something that says, hey, I got to charge now. And it charges. And it'll keep on charging continuously. And I just have to switch it on for a second and off again, and then it goes. Now, any gurus out there that know about this, maybe you have a solution to that, or, you know, it'll work. It's okay. Yeah, so I went out today and bought a new project, or another project. 1980 Triumph TR7. Kind of a cute little thing. Really a piece of shit right now. POS, is that what they call it? Yeah. The door's open, and there's minimal rust, which is, I thought it would be a rust bucket when I got there, but it wasn't, and so, what the hell? For $700. Oh, can't get the trunk open, it's too heavy. Everything locks like that thing there, it's got a locker on it. And the trunk, there's no rust in the trunk. It's all clean. I don't know what the hell that is. Some sort of something. Don't know what the hell that is. Oh, that's a gas tank. There's a smell of gas, so I imagine there's some bad gas lines on it somewhere. And the roof is in, less than perfect shape. I think that's something that can get fixed up. And there's all sorts of roof around there. But for the most part, there, I'll take two. So I was here somewhere, and the seat belts still work, so they're okay. The seats look pretty ratty. Don't know how to get the roof off, but we'll figure that out. There's no rust here at the shock absorbers, or the struts, and it looks like the motor's all here. Might take some doing to get it going, but I'll see if I can get it to be a roller, and then everything's backwards. The exhaust is on this side and the carburetors are on that side. No, I guess it's not too backwards. Don't know what it has for a motor in it. It's 4-cylinder something, is it? Yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4 cylinders. Dual carburetors. It's got Lucas Electrics, that would be the god of darkness, eh? But the wheels are all right, and it turns, it rolls like it. I rolled it in here, and it's got a battery in it. The guy said it's pretty new. I don't know how new it is, but it doesn't matter. We'll just see how it works out. Yeah, lots of things. But anyway, the front bumper is in the back of my Volkswagen, which is where it'll stay for a few days. The other door, I think, has been replaced because it looks like it's red underneath. But I'll scrape off some paint here and see if it's been changed colors. No, looks like it's all been this color, that British Racing green color. It would look pretty good. It would look all right if it got a new paint job on it. Somebody tried to do some work down there, and there's rust around there, but I'll cut that out and see what's going on. But here, like, there's some body work in there too, so there's likely some rust in there, but we'll get that all figured out. For the most part, not in too bad a shape for an old bucket. I'll get it up on the hoist if I ever when I get the motor running and get the Mercedes off of there. I'll get it up on the hoist and have a look and see. But cool little thing. It'll look good with the roof down. I'll get some more photos of it another time. Yeah. JD's here to inspect the Mercedes.
Hey guys.
He wants to make sure that he gets included in the in the video system here.
Yes.
I haven't done.
Perfect.
Oh yeah, it's got 8-track in it. That came with the car, or it was a factory. It wasn't a factory included 8-track. It was a dealer installed 8-track. So as far as I've got so far is just doing this thing over here. I've rebuilt this bit of metal here was all rusted out. It used to look, well, like that. Put a new one in. The other side needs a new one too. The other side used to look like that. Just a mess. Anyway, there you go. JD on video. Yeah, so here, I charged up the battery, turned the key, and it goes click, click, click. So I rock the car back and forward, and the motor actually moves. So that's good. But the clutch line, I'll show you. This would be the clutch line here. I do believe that looks like a new clutch cylinder down in here. So likely it just needs to be hooked up and have a fluid on it. And then next after that is getting the wiring right up here, because who knows where anything is there. And then a fuel line. I see an open fuel line right down. I'll show you from the other side. I think the radiator has water in it, or something. Hopefully it's antifreeze. Yeah, right down here. Right where my finger is. Can you see that? Nah, nope. But anyway, move this out of the way. Right there, that silver end, or that golden end right there. That's the fuel line, open. And fuel's dripping out if you do that. So I'll put a hose on that over to the fuel pump, and that'll close that loop up for now. And then I'll start worrying about how to get the starter to go and stuff like that. But I think that it has to go over to the lift to be able to get that stuff happening, and I'm just gonna do the immediate things, leave it parked, and get the Mercedes looked after. I got some parts for that today, and then we'll go ahead with this a bit. Yeah, so I got a pile of parts from the FedEx guy today. Now I got a bunch of this vacuum hose, and I got some of it for the Beamer and some of it for this car here. So I'll just put it over here till I need it. Where will I put it? Everywhere to put it, but they're all used up. Right here. There's a good spot. Right there. Then, what else is in here? Brake hose. Front end. Oh, another sticker. That one's got a Mercedes on it. I should put that up on the wall. Good idea. That must be because they're for Mercedes parts and not for BMW parts. These are the brake shoes for the back. A couple of donuts for holding up the mufflers. Brake hose front. A couple of more rubber bushings that go in the back somewhere, I think. It says on them trailing arm bushings. Rear forward. Okay. Brake hose, male, female, left rear, which is one I need. Well, I need all four brake hoses. Brake hose, rear right. More donut things. Trailing arm bushings to axle housing cone shaped rearward. Okay, they go on back there somewhere. And 2 tie rod ends, which is good. Or tie rods. I couldn't get just the tie rod ends because they were unavailable, but you can buy the tie rods, so that's good. Yeah, so the first thing I'll do is look after the brake shoes or pads in the back. And I can put that up on my post here. That'll be nice. I'll put it on the post on the other side. Right about there looks good, hey? Hang on. Yeah, there you go. Pelican parts. They're actually pretty good for parts. There's them, and there's FTP Euro, and another spot that I get it. I try to get them from Canada lots of times because then you don't have to pay for shipping out of the States. Or, yeah, sometimes. And there's an auto house in Canada that has parts, but not as good a supply as that Pelican parts place. So now I wonder if I get parts for that Triumph, if I'll get a Triumph sticker. I bet you I do. That'd be fun. Anyway, I'll lift it up and I'll get these brakes here changed out. Yeah, that's all back together. It actually came apart and went together really simple. You just slide these 2 things out, pull that shield off of there, which is just a spring-loaded thing to hold them tight, and then pull the shoes out, or the pads out. Make sure that the calipers are extended all the way in, and then put the pads back in. It goes real easy. But I presume, like if you got an old set of calipers, you likely have to take them all off and apart and clean them up before you put them all back together. Anyhow, that's what I did the first time. So likely what'll happen the second time is just so happens that I put them on with the old pads in there, so I'll trade them out for the new pads and make them right. So that's what it looks like. There it is. That's what it looks like with the old pads in there, and I'll take them out of there and put in the new pads right now. Yeah, so there I got all the bits out of there. Now it's just to pull the pads out. 1, 2. both out. Now I'll go and get the new ones. Now I got that goopy stuff on the back of these, so I'll put goopy stuff on the back of the new ones too. Oops. There's them. There's the goopy stuff. And here's the two new pads. So you put the goopy stuff on them. Now I won't be able to shut off the camera because I got this goopy stuff all over my hands. All over my gloves. Now, I'll just do one at a time. I'll go back with the camera, I'll show you. So this is the one on the inside, and it just slides in. Famous last words there, eh? Oh, I was pointing the wrong way anyhow. Just slides in, yes, yes. Come on now, slide in there. Maybe I'll try it on the other side here and see if it'll slide in. Other side just slid in. As soon as I got a camera on it, then it won't go, eh? Of course. Of course. Of course. Of course. There. Now I'll just give it a bit of a tap with a hammer and I'll send it in there, I think. It'll take a little bit to get these seated, I think. One side, one half in. Now try for the other half, which is here. Make sure you put the metal side to the caliper, hey? Be smart not to, eh? This won't just inside. This one here is a bit tighter fit than the other side. Maybe the calipers aren't pulled all the way in or something. See if I can use a screwdriver and get it seated better. Yeah, everything's so easy except when you start filming. I'm just gonna put the camera down, need two hands. Yes, I don't know what went on there, but I did a little bit of wiggling and jiggling with the screwdriver, and then it seemed to fit. So I think this wasn't quite straight or something like that. Who knows? Anyhow, it's in there now. And now I just put this top pin back in. If I can. There it is. Give a little tap there so it stays. Then the next thing is this little spring plate. It slides underneath the first pin. Then it sits in there like that. Then this comes in here. Oh, I need more hands. So I have to push this in so the pin goes over the top of it. So I have to get off here. There you see like that. So the pin's over the top of this bit here, and this bit here is a spring-loaded thing that holds the brakes from rattling around in there, I guess. You just tap it into place, and it's got a little clippy thing at the end of it there that tightens into the whole business to hold it all together. So that's all the shoes on there right now. Turns, so something's okay. Now I'll put those hoses on. Hose number one comes from here to here. Looks like I've got a plug on the top of that one to keep it from leaking. Okay. Yeah, so there's one hose goes from here to here. Maybe I'll get some light, will I? I'll show you better. There, so you can see right up there, the hose goes from there to here, and then it's a solid line going along to where it plugs into the caliper. The other side, this is the rear end. The other side goes from, you can sort of see right up there in the middle of the shot, and then it goes up over the top of that air bleeder thing. Line up like this. Up over the top of this. Now this hose is a bit longer than the one that was originally in there, and so it kind of, I got to get it up over that thing, and I don't want to make it so it rubs on something, so I think it's okay right there. And then it gets into solid here, and this is, remember where I was telling you about the where we use tie wraps, there's this thing here that holds that tight to the axle, and then it plugs in over here, and now I'll go to the front end and get the front end done. There, one end's held on here, and the other end's held on here somewhere. Oh, look. Yeah, right there. So I think you got to plug this one in first and then put that one in second. So I'll take this hose off, put a new hose there, same on the other side. Yeah, once again, it's built like a tank, so this is where the line goes into the rubber line. But this rubber line has got an extra bracket here with a bolt on it there, so you got to take that bolt out to loosen off this underneath bit so it'll come apart. My God. Oh well, I guess I want to make sure it's solid, and it is. Yeah, nothing's ever as easy as it looks. Anyhow, that hose is on there now, and the old one, here we are here, had this extra clippy thing at the top of the hose, but it didn't come on the new hoses, so that's the way that is. But that one there, that hose there is also plugged, so I think what was happening with the brakes is that a little bit of fluid might have been getting through under pressure and then not being released, so the brakes would lock on and stay locked on. So these new hoses should alleviate that problem, we hope. I'll get it done, and I'll do a bleed on these brakes, and so I got one more to go over on the other side. See if I can get over there. Yeah, there it is. That one's there. New hose down to here, and I'll see if I can turn the wheel. Yikes! It's heavy, and it hooks in right down here. Then there's a metal hose, a metal pipe that goes from here to the caliper, and then it ties in down there. So now, those new hoses, I'll put some fluid in and I'll see about bleeding it. We'll use that right there, that plastic thing. I'll use that for bleeding it, I hope. Yeah, I got that thing hooked on there, and it seems to be, oops, God. Some days. There you are. Get up there, you. Whoops, I'm pointing the wrong way. Seems to be working all right now. Still pointing the wrong way. So there were a bunch of bubbles came out, but it's not hooked on there very well, so I gotta fix things up here a bit. Hang on. Yeah, there's the power motive, or whatever the motive product thing, and it's got, 10 pounds of pressure against the whole system. And you can see that there's still quite a bit of fluid in there. It's fairly hard to see where the line is there, but it's right about there. Anyway, I'll go to the other side here. I gotta get the light. Where is the light? Light's way over here. Bring me the light. This side here, I got bleeded out. Came out clear fluid, which is all right. This side here, I'll try and show you the whole thing, if I can. It's difficult sometimes. Now I've got that thing hanging over the brake here, but you should see bubbles come there if I get the light in a spot where it sort of works. And if I point the camera in the right way, but I got to get my little wrench first. Here we go. See if I can make this work. So that little thing here, that's where it hooks on to loosen it, but it's right in between a couple of bolts on the damn thing. There you go. It's going anyhow. See the bubbling coming there? Can you see that? Where am I pointing the right way? Yeah, right there. So it's bubbling fluid, and then as soon as it finishes bubbling fluid, then we're happy. See, now it's coming clear fluid there now. Oh, there's some more bubbling. Give it another minute or two and see if I get more bubbling. Getting a bit down there, not much. Don't know why, but I guess it will eventually. One more bubble. Another bubble. Just little bubbles coming. See if I can loosen this off a bit. I don't know what's going on with that. Thing flashing, what's going on? Who knows? But there's a bunch of fluid down there, and it looks like it's done bubbling, so I think I've got it cleaned. So there's nice clean fluid coming through there. Now I'll close this thing off again, if I can. Yeah, there, it's closed. Now I'll just pull this off and get the fluid to go down into there. So that's how much came through. Like, you don't use that much to just fill the lines. You don't use that much to come much more than that. And make sure this thing here is tight. But don't over tighten it because it'll break off. I've seen that happen to me. Yeah, it's tight. Next is the front side. So I go and dump this out and then I'll go to the front. Here we are, front passenger side, right? Loosen off the bolt here. There we go. And it bubbles away for a bit there, see it? Got to have that hose kind of pointing upwards so you can see the bubbles coming before it starts sending clear fluid. Now, what order do you do this in, do you say? Well, you do it the rear passenger side first, then you switch over and you do the rear driver's side, then you do the front passenger side, and then the last one is the driver's passenger side. So that's the longest amount of brake line first, which is down to the rear passenger side, and then next is the next longest, and then so on and so on until you get to the end of it all. There, that came through. That's quite nice. I'm happy with that. And the pressure's dropping a bit in the thing there, but it's only just, don't have to pump it up again. That's number 3 done. Yeah, things are going along all right. I'll just put this here for a minute because the front ones have these little, the back ones are missing this little cap. Can you see that black on black on the ground? Oh, in the muck. Everything's in the muck. That's old brake fluid there. So I'll put it on here and then I'll wipe off my hands and stuff. So I'll put the camera away for a bit until I get the brake fluid cleaned up. Yeah, now I'm at the, where am I? Driver's side. Brake. There's all sorts of air going through there now. Oh, lots of air coming. So I might go through them all once more, just to see if anything else happens now that they've all been done. But I may not bore you with that. Still a few little air bubbles coming through there, so I'll just let it run for a bit more. I mean, likely what I'll do is I'll put it down a ways and I'll pump the brakes up a bunch and then see about that. There, that would be no more air coming there. No, running clear. That's the most fluid that I took out of any wheel right there. Anyway, that's brakes bleeding 101 on Mercedes Benz. And it seems it works just fine when all the lines aren't plugged. So old hoses, 1968 hoses, I'll bet. And the 1968 hoses, they just deteriorated in time. So that's what happened there. All for now. Yeah, so there now I've got the brakes all bled and put together properly, perhaps. So I'll hop in the car and just see what happens if I pump the brakes a couple of times. It'll likely go to the floor until it fills up those calipers. Then it might hold tight, and I might have to put a bit more fluid in it, but we'll see. Oh, it's a tight old fit getting a fat guy in here. Oh well, that's all right. I'm in once to the floor, and again to the floor. There, now it's a tight brake. That's a really tight brake. Now, should be maybe a little bit lower on fluid again. I'll check that out. Won't be too much. And I'll see if the wheels will turn now, if the brake's released. Don't you like the way these doors go thunk? Just like that. Thunk. Very nice sound. Oh, it didn't go down, like it just went down a 1/4 inch. So that's pretty good. Now let that be for a bit. Now, front wheel, will it turn? No, but I think it will if I put something on it. Hang on. Yeah, here we are. Now I just put this bolt on so I have something to grip onto it. Turns fine. That's right on. That's the way it's supposed to be. I'll take a bolt with me. Go over to this one here. Oh, a little bit tighter. Well, I might have to take something to that and try and loosen it. Yeah, so this one turns. There's a little bit more work to make it turn. Here's the thing. But it goes around. Now we'll go to the back one. Oops, I'm stuck in here now. There. There's my helper. The helper comes in here quite often. See if this thing turns now. Oh yeah, that's easy. Haha. That's both sides turning, so not dragging anything. And it has been tight, so success. It'll take a little bit of a road run to run in these brakes and stuff, but I think we got it. I got it under. That's good. I'm happy with that. So the tightest wheel is the passenger side, and I think that'll wear in, given a bit of time. And apparently all this car has is lots of time. So what'll I do next? I think it's, well, I have to do this thing here, which I'll likely get to, tomorrow maybe. What time is it now, I wonder? I think it's like 4:30 or 5 o'clock now. I could get started on this, and then I think what I'll do, I've got the brakes under control. Maybe I could put these arms on here. No, I'll leave that for another time too. Can put them on, and that would likely be a good thing to do. I'll think about that. If I do that today, and then I'll put a set of wheels on it and roll it out of here, put some gas in it and roll it out of here, and see if I can roll that other little car in for a bit to just see what's going on with it. Because it's got me curious now. I can't have me curious. Gotta do something about that. I'll put the I'll see if the pimp wheels fit on here. That might look cool for a bit. We'll see. Anyhow, today I'll finish putting on those arms, and then that'll be today because it's Friday. Yeah, so here you are. This thing here, which is my arm puller thing, it's set up that it's pulling on this part and pushing on that bolt there. So I've got this nut turned around back. I took the nut off. It had a cotter key in it. Took the cotter key out, took the nut off, turned it around backwards, and then that gives this a bit of a landing to sit on. Then I'll put the wrench on here and Turn that and that should pop out, perhaps. Yep, just like advertised. That thing just popped right up there. I don't know if those new ones come with new nuts, so I'll just put this to here for now. And then that comes out, and then you're free here. Now the other next end is up over here, so I'm going to change my light, of course. Right to here, maybe. Shine it in my eyes for a while. This one here might not be so easy to get into, but not too bad. And then I believe that this arm here was new, like 20 years ago, but hasn't ever got any use on it. So I find the cotter key, pull it off of that, pull the nut, and then do the same trick on that one. Yeah, that little puller here, I just put like a 3/8 inch drive. This is a socket that I've manipulated or modified so that it sits on there, and all I've got is just a cotter key through there. So it's kind of a shear pin. It won't take too much pressure before it breaks. Yeah, there I got the cotter key out there. It sits right there. Then this is the nut on the bottom of this is a 17. That won't fit. Goes that way and that way. See if I can get that to come off of there. Oh, there it goes. Oops, I'm pointing the wrong way. 17 is the nut on here. Or if you wanted to go the other way around, 11/16 is the same, or close to the same. So what I'll do is I'll take this nut off. Can you see what I'm doing there? Yeah. I'll take this nut off, then I'll turn it upside down so as not to burr the ends of it there where it's got the cotter key stuff, holes in it for a cotter key. That'll come off my finger now. There we go. So you just turn it around the other way, turn it around backwards, put it back on. Just a few turns, so it's on there fairly good. And that'll give a seat for the little puller to sit in. So the puller can have something to rest on so it doesn't fall off the end of the nut, or the end of the bolt part. That'll be enough there. Then the puller will sit up on there, and bingo, I hope it comes off. I'll tell you, I'll let you know in a minute. Just right the puller, you just wrench it on there and then it pushes up. So that's loose now. I can take the puller off and take the rest of that stuff off, and I've got the tie rod out. And I'll go and I'll measure the other tie rod and get the other tie rod the same length as this, so it gets to be pretty close to being in line. The tie rod on the bench, and there's the new one there. And then it started pouring rain. And I'll take a look out here. Oh my God! Oh, there. The doggies are up there on that back deck. I wonder if they can find a place of shelter. I think they can. Or else they're getting a bath, because I ain't going out in the pouring rain to get up. Aren't I mean? Mean. Oh well, they'll be fine. So I'll set up this first tie rod to be the same length as this one here, and that'll get it pretty close. Then I can same length as this one here, and that'll get it close, and I can use it to what do you call it? Then I can use that to set up the I won't have to be too far off on the steering, and later on when I get my fishing line out, I can get it set up good. There's side number 1 done, new tie rod. This arm here seems to be okay and tight, and the pitman arm seems to be okay. So I just have to change that other tie rod, and then I'll be a happy guy on this part of it. There I got number 2 out but there's a rod here, stabilizing rod, that goes across here, hooks into here, and it's tight in there on a bushing, and then there's another rod stabilizing. This is like a shock absorber thing here that, keeps it from shimmying and stuff. And so all that stuff was in the way of getting this off the pitman arm here. Oh yeah, okay. And so what I did was I took the bolt out of this one here and just moved it to one side. Then I was able to get my little tool, grippy tool, to fit in there and pull on it in a straight line. I could get it in, but it wouldn't pull on a straight line, so it wouldn't push the thing out. And it was in there exceptionally tight. So I'll set up the other tie rod and put it back on. And then I discovered that the new tie rods don't have any little holes on them for cotter keys. So these nuts here, where is it? There it is. These nuts that look like castles, they aren't self-locking. Just so happens that the BMW had pretty well the same size tie rods on it. And it came with when I put new tie rods on it, it came with new nuts and everything. And the nuts that were on the old one, they are these self-locking things, so I'm using them instead of the ones that came, instead of those castle things. Yeah, here we are. It's the end of the week, so I'll have to finish up for this week. And the Mercedes was the last thing I was working on this week. I'm going to walk into the other shop here, and there's my car that always works. Raining out, of course. It's been rainy this week. Here's the car that works most of the time and is working pretty good now because I fixed up the generating system. And oh, look at that, the cat loves it in there. Just a nice spot to be, right? And here's next on the list right here for now. Maybe tomorrow I'll pull this in and get it on the lift, and you'll have a bit of an idea what it's all about next week. Motor doesn't turn over. Well, the motor turns over, but the starter doesn't turn it over. It goes clickety-click, so I'll pull the starter off first thing, and then I'll start working on getting the wiring set up and figure out a few other things. Anyhow, see you next week. Hope you, oh, there, the cat's coming out. Why don't you try that car there, kitty cat? You might enjoy it. There was another cat living on its seats. The seats of this car are just covered in cat fur, and I met the cat that lived in there. But I'm letting it dry out for another day before anything happens. It's got a really bad paint job on it, like seriously bad paint job. But I think that's a lot of weather over a lot of years too. So we'll get it looking good again. Get the stickers on it. It might be kind of a cool little car. Might be nice to drive it. See what happens.